Welcome back to This or That with Kobe and Cap for another episode. We're headed close to playoffs. I feel like there's going to be some playoff questions in the slides today. We've got 9 for you. Let's start with number 1.
All right.
Who will win? Counter Logic Gaming and C9 have a matchup coming up.
Okay, so I was all aboard the CLG faith, but not too much. Back when I called them to beat TSM, I will remind you, sir, that I was correct. However, their past few games have not looked quite as good. The team does not seem to be quite as coordinated or really on the same page, especially in the game where we saw Biofrost on Tom Kench this past week. It just didn't look to me like they were able to make any moves going up against Team Liquid. The first time when we saw them play, they were able to play the Caitlyn and the Lux and really just slam the bottom lane, and it looked like they were playing this really aggressive style, and I just didn't get the same feeling from CLG this past week. Cloud9, on the other hand, I think as long as they keep Svenskeren in, that man was a monster on the Jarvan, being able to bring the game back against TSM, make all the engages. My money's on Cloud9.
Yeah, I feel like it has a lot to do with what players are going to play from Cloud9. They've got so many changes they've been putting in and out, jungle, top lane, and that's going to put a lot of risk in the lineup. I think if they want to win, which Reaper said in their interview for last one, they're going to have Svenskeren in, and Licorice might be back as well, so I might give the edge here to Cloud9.
Keep an eye on the roster.
2.
Numero dos.
Better lane to gank early. Is it mid lane or is it top lane? Depends 100% on the matchup. Trick.
I disagree. This is solo queue, and in solo queue, I'm ganking for this guy because these guys are usually just going to complain about everything anyway, and something about messing up their lane position or something else. You can go stay on your fun little deserted island.
And they're going to get tilted.
No, I'll just tell him to do some Gilligan stuff, sit underneath the turret, have a good time. I'm ganking for this guy so that he'll go down here and do what he's supposed to do, and I can get in the jungler's face and go mess him up.
Well, I feel like Captain Flower's strategy is going to tilt your top laner off the face of the earth, and that is the #1 way to lose League of Legends games, is just your teammates tilting now. So I'm going to go...
No, you type, I believe in you, smile to the top laner, and then gank for the mid lane.
I'm going to go gank both lanes, but
Okay.
I'll start with top. Next slide. Better MVP candidate. Is it Doublelift or Svenskeren? Honestly, Svenskeren has just been dominating. It's insane. For a jungle player, with as much variance as there is in jungle, he has clearly been standing above the competition. Doublelift still is the best North American AD carry, so both of them do have very strong platforms.
And I think what I'm also looking at it from here is the context of the team that you're on, right? Like, how often are you the reason that your team wins when otherwise maybe it would have been a lot closer, or even you lose the game, right? Svenskeren is that difference. We literally saw it in comparing the 2 different junglers that Cloud9 could play just this past weekend. Doublelift plays a lot of Sona. And I'm not here to bash Sona.
He doesn't want to. The coach is picking it for him.
Well, that's a team environment thing. The entire environment plays into this discussion, and the environment of Cloud9 does not look nearly as good without Svenskeren there, towering over the rest of the jungle.
All right, jungle bias. I choose that as well. Next slide. What feels worse, accidentally using Rift Herald? That feels pretty bad, or forgetting to pick it up? That feels way worse.
Yeah.
At least this one, you could be like, it was gonna time out. I had to use it. So I would say this one definitely feels worse.
And if your opponents are dropping the ball too, Shelly still might get some plates or something. This one, it doesn't matter if they're forgetting to pick it up. They can't anyway. Definitely going with that.
All right. Our next slide is the U.GG slide. Let's see what they have for us today. Which lane is better for Lucian?
No, which game is better for Lucian?
I had started saying which, and then I looked at it and it said where, so I was like, I could probably turn this into the right one, right?
Just gotta do a little bit of navigating.
That's gonna be the case. Summoner's Rift or Teamfight Tactics. Ooh, this actually needs an addendum. Is it live Teamfight Tactics or PBE Teamfight Tactics? Because PBE gunslingers are insane. They just got changed today, and I would say Lucian is more insane with the gunslingers in PBE Teamfight Tactics because you can apply red buff to everything, you can disarm everything, you can silence everything on the whole freaking board. So I'll choose that.
But allow me to pose my counter argument, sir. Rick Fox plays Lucian, and Rick Fox is inspiring people everywhere to climb solo queue. So I would argue that the mental benefit of Rick Fox playing Lucian and inspiring the entirety of the player base makes Lucian better on Summoner's Rift.
Fair argument, my friend. Let's go on to the next slide. Better at absorbing pressure, this, that, or the other thing. Solo, impact, or ruin. Solo in their last game for Echo Fox, he kept pushing up and getting killed by all of the ganks, so I say that is the incorrect answer.
Okay.
Not often do I say there is an incorrect answer up on one of these slides.
You're gonna straight up just.
But I'm just gonna let you know.
Disqualified.
Captain Flowers, there are 2 answers now. Go ahead and choose.
Okay, between that or the other thing, something has happened to this in the meantime. Now, looking at these two, Impact, I think, is someone who can absorb pressure really, really well, and he's also somebody that the team doesn't always rely on to carry. Even though they've put him on more carries recently than he has been in the past, I think the guy does a great job of just being able to say, hey, cool, put me on Jace, put me on Gangplank, I can farm up, still be useful later. Ruin, although he's had a really solid showing so far on CLG, he still has more to prove before he's at that same level as Impact for me, so I'm giving it to Impact.
Yeah, I think you can give it to Old and Steady. He's been in the league for so long, does it all the time. Gangplank, he did it once again on this weekend, so I'll go with Impact as well. Next slide. Feels worse? Is it either falling behind as a poke composition, definitely gonna be hard to pull that one off, or having people tilt in a scaling composition?
I'm going with that. The worst thing in League of Legends is seeing your team with a Kayle top and an Azir mid and a Vayne AD carry, and all 3 of them are whining and complaining 8 minutes in because somebody died. You've got to be a bit more tilt-proof than that. Definitely going with that.
Yeah, I agree. This is definitely one of the most tilting things, because especially in solo queue, I feel like the other team is always prone to make mistakes. As much as my team tilts, the other team's bound to tilt as well. We could come back in this game.
It's a game of catch, bro. Who throws
keep
harder?
playing.
That's it. That's all it is.
All right, I agree with you. Next slide.
All right.
Bigger throw, TSM versus Cloud9 or CLG versus Golden Guardians. This was a ginormous throw. That was also a ginormous throw. How do you weigh 2 ginormous things?
Here is how we weigh the ginormous things. We weigh them in the realm of the history of those things. What is the history of CLG versus Golden Guardians? That throw. What is the history of TSM versus Cloud9? Way more on the line. We got bragging rights. We got trash talking rights. We got you're bad and I'm not rights. That's a lot. And that means
trash talking?
that's all 3 of those things are actually the same thing. But Cloud9 earned all of those when they were able to come back against TSM. I'm going with this.
Honestly, yeah, especially since there's a bit of history to this one repeating itself. TSM has thrown versus Cloud9 quite a few times in a row now. Gonna have to watch out for that
History,
one.
baby.
I agree once again. Next slide. Who missed more skill shots, Sneaky or Stixxay? Well, I like the reference here to the Stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Star Wars never seem to be able to hit a main character.
Well, at least the protagonists are safe, but unfortunately for these guys, well, I guess Cloud9 was still the protagonist because they ended up winning their game. But for CLG, actually most of the comments that I saw people being disappointed in their performance from this past week is, why pick Ezreal when you can't hit Q? Stixxay had a really, really rough time, and I think I gotta give it over to that.
I mean, it was close. Yeah, Sneaky missed a lot too, but I'll side with you, I guess. Definitely a good slide this time around. I think that's gonna do it for us today. Is that all we've got?
That's the last one.
All right, make sure you go to u.gg, check out all of their League of Legends as well as TFT statistics very soon.
And don't forget to come back here next week for another episode of This or That. See you then.